This is the new Polestar 3, and yes, it's a big electric SUV that can count the Tesla Model Y as a potential rival, but it goes further because it's also a BMW iX rival, maybe even a Porsche Cayenne and Range Rover Sport rival too, because for buyers of those cars who love their powerful, spacious and obviously dominant road presence SUVs, well, this is an electric alternative, and it goes one step further because it also gets a world first piece of technology which makes it potentially handle better than all of them. So in this review, we're going to find out if this is the big and dominant road SUV that you want to buy and if it can beat those really hot selling rivals. Now, before I show you that amazing technical feature, we need to talk about the other unique and impressive thing about this Polestar 3, and that is its aerodynamics, because while this is an SUV, and I mentioned its SUV rivals, you'll see that it's a lot slimmer in the profile than those cars. They're very boxy. This is quite narrow, which might not bode very well for space inside, but in terms of aerodynamics, it's unquestionable. It makes it much slipperier, and that allows Polestar to play around with aero as well. Now, we've got a big front wing on this car. Look, it's got actual gaps through there, so this helps to narrow the nose even more. And you'll spot there is sort of a fake grille, but this is actually the technology zone where they house all the equipment that helps you drive it, and we'll test that in a bit. But really, it's all about aerodynamics up here, and then around the side, well, it's all about stopping power, because behind these wheels we've got 22-inch alloy wheels. This isn't a performance pack car, but you still get whacking great alloys. Well, you've got a massive brake caliper there. These are Brembo brake calipers, and they're 4 pistons. That's a big 4-piston caliper. I thought there were 6, so it emphasizes how big the pistons are. And I've been speaking to the engineers at Polestar, and they told us that they have developed this braking system to work without ABS on snow in Sweden, and then they added the ABS. So these should be quite effective on dry roads as well. You can't miss how big the battery of this car is. 111 kilowatt hours is massive. I mean, some of the brands out there now, some of the Stellantis cars are 60 kilowatt hour batteries. This is massive. This is bigger than a Tesla battery. And if you follow me around to the back of the car, some pretty standard Polestar design here, but it's very nice. If you like your Polestar design, you're gonna like this because it's sleek, it's sharp, it's high tech. And you've got another wing here. This is your rear wing, and it cuts into there, but it also emphasizes, because it's pinching the tail, how much that roofline swoops downwards. So does that mean it's got no headroom inside? Well, I have to admit, there are certainly no issues with space up front, because, well, not only do I have a ton of headroom to this panoramic sunroof, but I've also got lots of space around me. This is a very airy cabin, even though it's got a steeply raked windscreen, and as we saw, quite a narrow roofline. It feels up front big and spacious, just like its rivals. Although, it's got a bit of a European vibe going on in the way that it does somewhat cocoon you into the seating position. I like that. It makes you feel like everything's within an arm or finger's reach. But I have to say, this center console, this armrest section here with your cup holders is very wide. You are not going to be getting close to your passenger without having to lean over. And it means you've got tons of space. You've got wireless charging, cup holders, and enormously deep, actually. You can get a leg of lamb in there, I reckon. Storage compartment down there, plus the usual space you get in EVs, and very generous door pockets, which are also lined with a rubber, I think, or certainly a grippy plastic, so stuff doesn't slide around. But this is a Polestar, of course, so it's all about the tech, isn't it? And well, you're not short of it, because while the screen ahead of me is quite narrow, it can illustrate Google Maps on the move. It's very clear, very communicative. You even get a head-up display directly projected onto the windscreen. But of course, your central focus is on this tablet screen here. Now, it runs Google software. Polestar was actually the first to use Google as its operating system, and this is apparently faster, slightly more refined, and there are some tweaks, but it's going to be recognizable if you've driven a Polestar 2. And so that means you've got your usual apps. It's very easy to navigate. You've got some shortcuts. It does mean, and I'll show you this while we're driving in a little bit, it does mean you do have to use the screen for pretty much everything, including changing drive modes, suspension settings, etc. But there are some quick ways to navigate it. Same goes for climate control, although it is pretty simple. I mean, it's just a few clicks there. If you wanted to have the buttons, I do too. They're not there, but it works okay. But actually, what makes this system most impressive is the Google voice control tech. Now, this isn't unique to Polestar anymore, but it means you can ask for a local coffee shop, and you can even check star ratings to get your best route options. So up front, it is a high-tech and premium feeling experience, but well, that roofline in the back looks a bit narrow, doesn't it? So is it a squash back there? Let's find out. So you know what, I have been surprised by the space here. I don't know how they've done it, but it's basically as spacious as it is up front when you sit in the back. So as far as headroom, even your width, and even legroom is concerned, you've got tons of the stuff in the back of this car. I have to admit, the battery, you can sense that the battery's in the floor, so with the seat set really low as it is ahead of me, it's a bit of a squeeze in there, but most people sit a bit higher anyway, and actually I've still got tons of legroom. this is a spacious back seat. And of course the middle seat as well is nearly as wide as those side seats, so you could theoretically imagine this as a comfortable 5-seater. And that's helped because you've got your own USB-Cs, there are a couple of them down there. You even get heated seats as well, plus your own controls for climate control. So if you're doing a long journey in the back of this, it's not going to be bad at all. And if you don't have anyone in the middle seat, well, then you've got an armrest here. There are no cup holders in here, and I can't see a ski hatch, so it means you're not going to be able to put your cups there, but you do get pockets here. And you've also got some generous pockets in the doors as well. And these are also rubber lined, so if you drop slidey items in there, they're not going to make too much of a racket. Although you probably won't be able to hear much, because I've just remembered about the sound system in this car. You've got this super powerful sound system with so many watts, I've forgotten the number, but we'll put it on screen now. And it has this atmospheric technology. It can use Dolby Atmos to project the audio all around you. And in the front seats, you've even got headrest speakers. So whether you're in the back or the front, you're going to have a real cinematic experience. And I should also mention that this car does come with some claims for some high sustainability, and Polestar really wants you to know that. So it's put its low CO2 in production on every single seat, bar in the middle one actually. So everywhere you sit, you get reminded that this is a sensible car when it comes to CO2. But of course it can do the sensible when you're traveling in other ways, and that includes Isofix bars as well. You can take this bit of plastic out and easily reach the bar there. So if you're putting kids in the back of here and they've got a baby seat, that's going to be easy. So I have to say, where has the compromise come with this slimmer roofline? Well, it's got to be in the boot, hasn't it? So let's find out this car's Achilles heel. So if I pop the boot open, what we're going to see is a really narrow line, aren't we? No, we're not. So what they've done here is they've cut really high up into this tailgate sections. It basically means we haven't lost any space. So I guess all the structure and all the hard bits are up here just behind the passenger heads, but it doesn't impede into the boot. So we have a massive boot. And actually it gets bigger still because there's this really cool floor. Now I love a boot floor because it means dogs can just jump in comfortably and not fall into the boot. But sometimes you have to take the whole thing out. It just gets really annoying, or you have to fold it out of the way. Well, this one is actually really clever because firstly, you can just tuck it up out the way here. You can just have a little deep section here. This is pretty low down. You could also tuck it up here, so then you've exposed a bit more of this boot and you get the underfloor storage as well. But there is this nifty feature where, and I'm gonna definitely do this wrong now, aren't I? I think I'm gonna get this right. If I go down, here we go, get it down like that, you've then got a 2-compartment boot. So you can put items in there and then items up there, and they shouldn't roll into each other if you buy lots of melons, for example, and I don't know, you go around bends. And I've also noticed I was mistaken earlier when I said it doesn't have a ski hatch. Of course it has a ski hatch. It's a Swedish car. It was just hidden behind some fabric and I've noticed it here. So if I lower that, there's the fabric and there's the cabin ahead. So this is a car with all the bits you'd expect. But does it drive as Polestar promises? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that is for me to set this in sport mode and show you that very cool piece of new tech. Right, how fast can I go from 42 to 60? That's how fast. That is quick. I don't doubt any of the claims for this car when it comes to performance, because I feel it straight away. It really accelerates fast if you put it into this performance mode. But weirdly, with Polestar, unlike Tesla, they don't seem to want to have that instant reaction in your normal mode. So in normal mode, now we're dropping to a speed limit of 40, so I'll have to drop down a little bit. But if I let the car go down to 30, if I accelerate, I floor it now, there's a hesitation, then we accelerate. It's like an automatic car that's thinking, oh no, I got to drop 2 gears. There's a hesitation. In normal mode, this car feels pretty relaxed, pretty restrained, very different to a Tesla. But as soon as you put it in performance mode, well, then you get your reactivity, and that is when the car feels most impressive, actually, because that's when it feels how an EV should feel. The annoying thing is that there's no physical buttons to switch between the normal and performance modes, meaning you have to dive into the infotainment system when driving the car, which is quite distracting. But it is worth it for more than just the response, because it also lets the Polestar 3's new tech and a world first for EVs, a dual clutch rear torque vectoring system, unlock more of the car's agility. There you go, you can see a little bit of so you can get it to do things a little bit. It is quite playful, it will come around. But really, the way you want to drive this car, and let's be frank, the way most people are going to drive it, is you're just going to leave it to its own devices. And doing that, it is actually a nice thing to just creep down the road in it. Just crawl along, leave it in range mode, get the maximum amount out of it. I'd actually put it in low regen as well, because the good thing actually, if you live in a city, the standard regen, if you come off, you'll see that I'm not braking, there's no one behind me, and I'm just losing speed, and it's going to pretty much bring me to a halt. It actually does. Look, it brings me to a very slow crawl. And then because I've got it in creep actually, so it would basically stop you in traffic. So that's great for urban drivers. But when you're on a flowing road like this, you want a bit less regen, just so you can, if you come off the power, you're not like a nodding dog firstly, but also so you just keep up that momentum. I just wish they had, like, for example, on Renaults where you can adjust on paddles on the back. That's the ultimate level of ease of use. But thankfully, because this Polestar system here does have shortcuts, and your most used things I think are pushed onto screen, and also the ones that are most relevant for your current setting are pushed onto shortcuts on the screen. So I actually can turn up or down or off entirely the one pedal driving mode there. So that's quite good. The thing that has blown my mind the most in this car is the brakes. And let me demonstrate to you just how amazing they are when I get on a flat surface. Right now we're going uphill, so it's going to be a bit easy, but the brake feel is way better than a Tesla, because in a Tesla, and I drive one every day, you get this kind of, you know, they're powerful and they're really good, but there's no feel. You actually get feel in these, not tons, but you get a little bit. And on top of that, the braking ability is mind-blowing. Honestly, mind-blowing. Okay, so now we're coming to the top of the crest here. So let me slow right down, let the cars ahead go. There's no one behind me. I'm going to now floor it, which is quite slow because I'm at the fastest mode. And we're up to the speed limit. Oh my God, my MacBook just smashed into the ground. Oh dear.
The Polestar 3 rides well too, not completely isolating the bumps, but certainly smoothing them enough for an impressively comfortable ride, which gets softer still when you raise the air suspension. It's quiet as well, and generally pretty refined.
Now I've got steering assist on. I have, it's very simple to turn it on. You just click drive again when you've got all the settings. And look at that, it's steering itself quite neatly. Driving me along at a consistent speed and keeping me steering along this path. It's quite good, isn't it? Needs you to keep your hands on the wheel, but just for demonstration purposes, I can show you how effective that is. So that's going to take a lot of effort out of motorway driving and even potentially country road driving, as I'm demonstrating now.
So I'm going to be honest with you, as much as I love to drive this thing, I have to admit I don't think a Range Rover buyer is going to be lured this way, because the suppleness of one of those Land Rovers is of course a little bit more. But this, for the price, well, because it's more comparable to a BMW iX or a little bit more than a Tesla Model Y, well, this is actually fantastic. Not only does it look way better than them, and especially way better than the BMW iX, but it's also more interesting because of those technical features. I mean, it's more playful than a Tesla Model Y. Although, if you're interested in playful electric cars in this kind of price bracket, well, there is one that tops them all for extreme fun, and it's this one, the Ioniq 5N. You've definitely heard of it, but you haven't seen a video like this one yet.